to the Discriminating Gamer, the board game review channel where I am not Cody, and these are just my opinions. Today, we're going to look at Arkham Horror Final Hour by Fantasy Flight Games.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
In Arkham Horror Final Hour by Fantasy Flight Games, 1 to 4 players are going to play investigators. They're going to travel around Miskatonic University. You're going to search for clues. You're going to defeat monsters. And you're going to try to reverse the ritual that's going to bring about the old ancient one. Now, Cody's done a great job of describing how this plays in a multiplayer setting. What I would like to do is I'd like to touch on the one difference really between playing this as a solo game. Now, as a solo game, what you're going to do is you're going to select 2 investigators, and you select one of those to be the lead investigator. At the beginning of your turn, you're going to draw 5 priority cards. You're going to select one of those priority cards, you're going to set that up next to the ancient one, and that's going to be the card that you're going to use to see if you can reverse the ritual at the end of the game. The other 4 cards, you're going to take those and you're going to assign them in numerical order across the table. Now you're going to take your lead investigator, you're going to draw the top card, and you're going to assign that to one of the 4 priority cards you have on the board. If you assign it to one of the lower 2 numerical numbers, you're going to take the top ability on the card. If you assign it to one of the upper numerical numbers, you're going to do the lower ability on the card. Now, each one of those priority cards can only have 1 card. So in a given round, you're going to play 2 upper cards and you're going to play 2 lower cards. Now, once the investigator has played his card, he's immediately going to take his action and do whatever it says. The second investigator is going to draw a card, and you're going to do the same. You're going to either put it on one of the lower numericals or one of the higher numerical cards. Once you place it, you're going to do their ability, you're going to take the action. Now you go back to the lead investigator. Now at this point, there's only going to be 2 spots left that he can play a card. It's either going to be 2 upper actions, it's going to be 2 lower actions, or it's going to be one of each. So he'll draw his card, he'll figure out what he can play based on the open slots that are there for the priority cards. He'll play the card and he'll do his action. Now the second investigator is going to draw their card. The problem is they're only going to have one location they're going to play a card. And it's going to lock them into whether they have to do the upper action or whether they have to do the lower action. So you have to look at the actions on the card and you have to be very careful. So you don't necessarily always want to play the lower abilities of the cards, but sometimes you don't really want that lower ability to be just played blindly because some of them can be very detrimental. So once you play that 4th card, you do the abilities and the turn's going to end. You gather up the cards, you're going to gather up all of the priority cards, and based on the icons, that's going to determine what the ancient one's going to do for that particular turn. Then you're going to continue the game like normal. You're going to come to the next round. The lead investigator is going to change to the person. You're going to draw 5 priority cards. You're going to assign one of those priority cards to the ancient one. You're going to put the other 4 in numerical order, and then you're going to repeat the actions that you did last time. Playing cards either to lower numerical value, playing cards to the upper numerical value, until the round's done. Once you've completed and you've gotten to the point where you can actually, you think you've got the clues, do you think that you're going to be able to win the game, at the very end of the round, you can declare whether or not you want to try to reverse a ritual. So you gather up all the cards that you put next to the ancient one. You're going to look at all the symbols. You're going to take the 2 clue tokens that you have put down at the beginning of the game on what you have to try to match. And if you can beat the number, if you have cards that beat the number of clue tokens by 1, you win Arkham Horror Final Hour. So when I saw Arkham Horror Final Hour come out, this is one of those games that's been on our radar for a long time. I just haven't picked it up. I'm a super huge fan of the Cthulhu mythos, and I really love the Arkham Horror settings. I have Eldritch Horror, I have 2 versions of Arkham Horror, I have 2 versions of Mansions of Madness. I have Arkham Horror, the LCG, with so many expansions. It's unreal. I don't know. I've always just really liked the Arkham Horror setting. I love the Cthulhu. I love the Lovecraftian theme. It's really fun for me. Cooperative games are one of my favorite games to play. It's just, I don't know why. I just love getting around the table with a bunch of people, and I just love trying to figure out what a puzzle is and playing the game. When I finally got Arkham Horror Final Hour, I got it to the table, but I didn't have anyone at that particular time that was around that was able to play, so I just dived into it as a solo game. And as a solo game, when I saw how the priority cards were played based on how they were played as a multiplayer game, I actually kind of really liked that puzzle. You only have your 2 investigators, but you have to figure out how you're going to be able to play those cards. Now, I understand as a multiplayer game that you do have some of the secrecy. You can't necessarily say what the numbers of your cards are or what your symbols are. So there is that little hidden piece that can be a whole lot of fun when you're playing it as well. But the puzzle on this one for a solo game is really, really good. Does it feel like Arkham Horror? Do you really get that HP Lovecraftian? Does it feel like an Eldritch Horror? Does it feel like, anything else that I've played in the Cthulhu? Yeah, the theme kind of seems a little pasted on to me. This could be anything. It doesn't have to be an Arkham Horror game. I do like the fact that, I do have Cthulhu and I do have the different monsters and, you're still working with the rituals and all of that. I mean, so it's still fun. And it's still a really good puzzle. Trying to figure out how you're going to be able to reverse this ritual. Now, I've actually played this game several times, 4 or 5 different times. I've played it solo every time. I've played every one of the monsters. I've played every one of the characters. But the one thing I've discovered with this game is it's not really super hard as a solo game. As a multiplayer game, I think this game is definitely going to be a lot harder to win. But as a solo gamer, if you can figure that puzzle, it's not as difficult. Because you're looking at the monsters, you know pretty much where they're going to be able to go. If you don't go defeat monsters in one location, there's some there they're going to be able to travel. You can see the areas they're going to go. If they're going to be able to put damage tokens on the board in certain areas. Where things are going to be blocked. So it's easier to determine and tell actually where everything's going to go. Now, sometimes, depending on the ancient one that you're playing, and depending on the characters that you're playing as well, or the investigators, it can actually get down to the point where you may get to the last round of the game and you're just really hoping that you have the right priority cards that's gonna reverse that ritual. That's happened to me on a couple of occasions. I think I have it. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm still up there around that 90% positivity. And I've been right every time. Unfortunately, this is one of those games that I haven't lost. Now, when I'm playing a cooperative game or I'm playing a solo game, if I win more than 50%, to me, that's a sign of an easier game. Some of the games that I play, I'm lucky to win 25% of the time. I've got some I've never won, but that's okay for me. I play the game for the experience. I really enjoy the puzzle, and that's what I kind of go for. Now, the thing with this game, and this is the one thing I like about this game, is this is a game I can get to the table and I can play this with a newer crowd. Some people that aren't seasoned gamers. I can play this with a younger crowd as well, in the low teens. And I think I'd be able to teach this one very, very well, and we can work together. And we can figure it out. And I think this is a good light introduction to cooperative games. I think it's a light introduction to games that are in the Arkham Horror genre. So it kind of sets up. I mean, even though the theme's not there the way I'm used to it. I mean, it's not Eldritch Horror. I mean, it's definitely not Mansions of Madness. It's not all the storytelling. But you get Miskatonic University. So it's really cool that I get to run around Miskatonic University and I get to do everything that we can do in there. And so I enjoy the game. Is it a game I'm going to get down on the table very often? Probably not. But it's one that I might pull out every great now and then, or it's one that I might find, if I have 1 or 2 people and they just want to play a light game, we have an hour. We want to do something that's in the Cthulhu realm, because I get asked to play games in that Arkham Horror realm all the time. This is one I may pull off for there. Am I going to keep it in my collection? I'm probably going to, at least for a little while. We'll see how often it gets played. If it doesn't get played very often, then it'll probably be time to get rid of it or donate it. But until then, I think I might actually pull it out every great now and then, put down a quick hour solo game. I think some of my games have been only a half hour long. It's not really long, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. I've had a good time when I've played the game, but if it's something for you and it's up for you to decide, I hope this helps you decide whether or not it's something that you may want to get, or something that you're looking for something a little bit harder and this is something that you just might pass up. So that's my opinion. Thanks for listening. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, and discriminatinggamer.com. We ask you please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask that you please check out Cody's other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where he takes a look at military history, books on history, and fun things like that. He even posts some of his lectures on that channel. It would mean a great deal if you would check out that channel and subscribe. And also please like this on Board Game Geek. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the content that Cody provides, I humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button down below and leave a tip. Thank you.
Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. God knows that I love the
Number 9, root canal, the dentist wars.